Hello everyone, and welcome to the first Masterclass. Well, can we call it Masterclass? I don't know actually. I thought I would make like a serious intro, but I can't do this. I honestly can't do this. Welcome everyone to another Trace 5 livestream. I will be your host, Kelfecil, for the day. And today we have a very special episode actually. Something that I have promised all of you since the start of Trace 5. And something that I've been really looking forward to doing myself, because for those of you that don't know it, I am a huge fan of the Zenteki faction in Netrunner, and specifically I love the mechanic of Psi games. So I was really looking forward to doing the stream. I promised people that I would make a stream where we only talk about the Psi cards. Every Psi card in the game, we will talk about it. Like, no matter if it's rotated or not, we will talk about it. We will talk about competitive strategies with Nisei Division as well. We will talk about Akiko Nisei, so Psi games on the runner side for sure. We will talk about the versions of Nisei Division, the actual faction that plays most of the Psi games actually went through. And I don't know how long this will take, and at first I was thinking about doing actually an article for it. But apparently it came down to the point where I'm like, why don't we just stream it? You know, it's going to be more fun. So I can drop the glasses and we can get started. I put on the glasses to be like, to make like a serious executive like kind of like intro, but I couldn't. I'm just way too much like in the mood when I'm streaming, like this is too much fun. Anyway, as you can see, I have like a beautiful background here to to start us off with. But this is what we'll be using for today. These are all of the Psi cards in the game, minus the Akiko Nisei. Akiko Nisei is actually the only, well, it's not the only one. We're gonna go through the runner cards afterwards, but let's just leave it on the side, just to have it ready. So anyway, let's get started. We will start by taking one by one the cards that have Psi games on them, and we will actually talk about their uses, their when you should use them, like what kind of Psi games you should play, where you should put the ice, when you should play Voter Intimidation. Well, cards like Voter Intimidation, for you that don't know it, you will hear about it later, don't worry. Cards like that are more played than the standard Psi Nisei Division cards are actually, most of you know how to play them, but I will talk in a more Nisei Division kind of like manner as well. So stay tuned, and if you're watching this as a past feedback, I will try and make some points afterwards on the video where you can actually just go through the cards one by one, so that you can speed through the video as well, just to make it like more interactive and more easy for you to follow. So let me just prepare some things here real fast, because this is still a live stream. This is actually live. The music, by the way, you can hear in the background is She again. We have featured the artist before on our channel, and I have to say again, thank you for letting us stream your music. It's amazing. We really like it. So anyway, let's get started. First of all, what is a Psi game? Psi game is basically when the card says, it's usually codenamed as Psi, P-S-I, and to have like a little history here, a little lore discussion. Psi comes from the fact that I think, mostly at least from what I've read, you know, as Constantine, from what I've read, basically one of the generations of the clones that Jinteki made, the Nisei generation, the Nisei line at least, was basically one of them. Well, I think all of them were psychic, and one of them actually came out to be Caprice Nisei. And Caprice Nisei is one of the most famous personalities, like clone specifically as well, in the android lore, generally. And she became a detective, and basically Jinteki is forcing her to do a really good work for the NEPD, faculty, the police basically. And she has psychic powers, and that's basically how the mechanic of Psi, basically like playing mind games with your opponent, came into the game. Because Caprice Nisei has, you know, psychic powers, since he can like predict, like, I don't know, detective stuff. Basically, the Psi games were implemented in the game of Android Netrunner, as you and the runner secretly spend 0, 1, or 2 credits. You reveal the spent credits, and if you bet a different amount, then something happens. All of the Psi games thus far have been if you spend a different amount. If you spend the same amount, nothing happens. If I'm mistaken, somebody say that please, by the way, because I'm pretty sure that all of them are basically if you bet different, then something happens. So anyway, a little linguistics here. Psychic in Greek is basically psychiko, which comes from the word psyche, and it means soul. So if you want to be really fancy, you can go to your opponent and say, "Let's play a soul game." So don't do that. Don't be that guy. I never did that. I'm just saying it for the first time on stream. But anyway, that's where the word Psi basically comes from. So it's all Psi games. Hey Circle Master, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. So we're gonna take the cards one by one now, and we're gonna talk about them. Afterwards, we're gonna talk about Nisei Division specifically. We're gonna talk about a few iterations of it that I've gone through myself. There are a few other ones, obviously, not only my deck list. A lot of other people have played Nisei Division, obviously, and on a high level as well. I don't know if it was as high competitive level and standing as I have, but we're still gonna discuss it because there are some decks that really made a difference out there. We're gonna talk about Akiko Nisei, and we are basically gonna see like if there's anything left to talk about. I know Aiki is different in the fact that the runner wants it to happen. Yes, in that way, Pink Warrior, yes, but we're gonna talk about that. Mind games in poker can sometimes be referred to as a soul read. Hey, so see, like Psi games, poker, Netrunner, it's all related. I mean, Christian knew something when he said like it's poker, Cyber Poker 5000. Anyway, let's get started. By the way, if the music is too loud, please let me know, because this is gonna be very important for having my voice be over the music if somebody's watching it afterwards. I don't want people like missing out on words or things that I say just because of that. So, first of all, Aiki. Piece of ice, it costs 1 to res, 3 strength. The thing is, the first thing that we need to say now, since we encountered a piece of ice first, wow, it's like we're playing Netrunner. The first thing that I have to say about Psi Ice is that most of them are actually cheap. And we're gonna talk about that when we talk about Nisei Division, because one of its strengths is basically the fact that it has really low economic stress when it comes to resing things. Because you can actually take influence from other factions and put it in a toll booth, and it's still not gonna cost you anything, because most of your other ice costs like 0 to 3 max. Like, most of the cards actually cost 0 or 1 to res in Nisei Division. Like Psi cards at least. Psi Ice. So anyway, this specific one is actually very much played in many decks, and it's not only in Nisei Division Ice. It's really good because it actually has 3 strength. I believe that's like the main reason, other than the fact that it has 2 subroutines. But the 3 strength is actually quite annoying for most of the breakers out there, and even if you have a Gordian Blade that actually boosts to 3 strength and then has to break, it's still 3 credits because you're breaking 2 subroutines. So this is, as Pink Warrior actually very correctly said, it says you and the runner play a Psi game, and if you bet different, the runner draws 2 cards, and then you do 2 net damage. Now in some cases, this is not bad, and even if you bet 1 in Palana, you're gonna get it back anyway, and you actually do that in trap decks, like Palana trap decks. Like I played a lot of Palana trap decks with Aiki because it's really cheap and you just have annoying protection. It's really good early game to late game ice as well. So you can put Aiki up there, and even if they do want to draw cards, you're okay with that, because sometimes you can bet 1, and if they bet 0, if you know they want to draw cards, sometimes you might actually bet 1. Because even if they do draw cards, you're still gonna get the Palana credit from the ID ability. So sometimes it's actually not bad. Most of the times when you don't play this ice in Nisei Division, you're just gonna bet 0. Nobody bets 1. And it's actually a really nice mechanic for the runner to actually run and just draw cards faster. I found myself as a runner many times that I would run on a Nike just to draw cards and then just break the other 2 subroutines. Because, you know, why not? You're just spending 1 credit to draw 2 cards. That's actually not bad. It's like 1 less card than I've had worse. So why not do it on a run, you know? So sometimes it backfires. If the corp has a lot of money, they are gonna pay 1 if they know you really want to draw cards. If you're like at 1 card or something and you're gonna go access. But still, I mean, it's a really good piece of ice. Very good early game presser, very good late game presser as well. But I have barely ever found... I don't think I ever bet 2 on this piece of ice. Oh, and this is, by the way, something that we're also doing. I'm gonna be giving my advice on what you should be betting, in my opinion, on every Psi game that we're gonna explore. So in this case, I would say 0, 1 in those extreme cases where you're playing a trap deck or you really know that they want to draw cards and you have the money to pay for it. In Nisei Division, it's a pop-up window. It's freaking amazing, actually. You pay 1, and every time they want to draw cards or something, you're like, okay, that's fine. You know, I'm still gonna bet 0 because if you're letting the Psi game fire, I'm just gonna gain 1. And I've said it a lot of times on stream when I res the Aiki. You need to break the subroutine when you're playing against Nisei Division. You can't let it fire. It's like letting a pop-up window fire every time. You're giving me 1 credit that will make me like allow me to res another Aiki or allow me to res like something else annoying. Like, it's just, you can't allow that. Aiki is to do with martial arts. That means turning one's strength against them. Oh, cool. See, we're getting some history lessons here as well. So anyway, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what all of these cards mean exactly, like the names. I'm really sorry about that. There's an amazing article on SteamHack actually, that actually shows most of the Jinteki cards, where their names came from. I'm not really an expert on Japanese lore and stuff, so I mean, I love Japanese history and stuff, and I do know a little bit of Japanese, but I've never really looked into it that much. So I don't want to risk like telling you things that don't, like, you know, actually, that are not true. So anyway, let's go to the next one. And I'm already getting really hot in here. I'm really sorry. I'm in Greece and it's just, oh my god, I think it's like 32 degrees at least right now. I don't know why I put on a shirt. So this is rotated. So let's just leave the rotated for the rotated cards in the end. Let's go to Cerebral Cast. So Cerebral Cast, it's a 1-cost operation, Grey Ops. Grey Ops doesn't really have, I don't believe there is a card that actually works with Grey Ops operations, like does something for Grey Ops, so it doesn't really matter. So it says, play only if the runner made a successful run during his or her last turn. This can be sometimes important, because when you're playing a trap deck, you do want them to make a run anyway. Like, Neural EMP has the same thing, it says, play only if the runner made a successful run. Or made a run, I believe? I believe successful. Is it successful? Made a run, okay, not successful then. So this one needs a successful one. So if anything, well, you can actually, not anymore. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, not anymore, yeah, okay. Yeah, there used to be something with Grey Ops. You're talking about the Grey Ops. Yeah, thank you, Pink Warrior. There used to be something that worked with Grey Ops. I don't remember exactly what it was, but there used to be something. So, you play a side game. As I was saying, you have to make a successful run. So this could actually be easily played in a trap deck. And I will explain the reason why. You play a side game, and if you bet different, they take a brain damage or a tag. Now, the thing is, I actually relied on this card personally to actually win way too many matches, because people did not know how to play against this card. It's a card that you never see on the table. Never. Never. And after I played with it, I saw a lot of decks, even out of Nisei Division, that actually used it, because if you're playing a trap deck, you know now that you do not want to take a tag, because the tag just kills you, and the tag in most cases has tag punishment following. So a lot of people were like, oh, you're playing Jinteki, you know, what kind of tag punishment could you have? And I just played double Scorched Earth and killed a lot of people. So that was like kind of like a rogue surprise kind of like strategy to play in it. And that's, in my opinion, that's one of the best things in Netrunner, secret information. When I was told that the top cats of big tournaments like Worlds now, you have to give your deck list to the other person, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, we're playing Netrunner, this is like secret information, why would I want my opponent to know my deck? But that makes sense in many other ways. It's a whole other discussion. You know, people are scouting anyway. They're going to know your deck anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. But anyway, it's just like when you see the list, all of it together, it's just a very different thing than being told about it. So anyway, there was another card that used Grey Ops. Oh, okay. I love the old Cerebral Cast and Scorched Earth play. Yes, it was amazing. And the thing is, like, as I was saying, you even played out of Nisei Division sometimes. It does cost a lot, because sometimes you do want to spend 2 or 1 to actually win the side game. Because in some cases the runner is just gonna be like, I'll just bet 0, or even if they're low on money, let's say. And so this is gonna end up costing you like 2 or 3 credits, which, if you think about it, is not that bad. 2 or 3 credits for a brain damage or a tag is not actually bad. And when there are resources on the table and you have a little bit of money, even if you have like 6, 7 credits, let's say, and you have 2 more clicks left, it's not bad. It's really good value actually, because if you're playing a trap deck, if you take them to 4 cards, they start their turn with 4 cards in most cases, unless they have a drug dealer or something on the board. But starting your turn with less cards against Denteki is just, oh my god, it's amazing. I mean, why not? You know, 2 brain damage, you can just play 2 or 3 of these, when in most cases you will play 2. But it still works, and you can recover it as well and play it again. It's not that costly in that case. So in Nisei Division, this is an even better card, obviously, because you get the credit back, and I will explain something about Cerebral Cast working better in Nisei Division for a specific reason later when we talk about Nisei Division. But for now, this Cerebral Cast, I believe it's a very good card. Nobody takes a tag anymore because everybody just knows, it's just commonly known, don't take the tag. Some bad things are gonna happen if you do. So, and there are a lot of even like new, really good tag punishment cards. So I believe this is like a do 1 brain damage card at the moment, if you do win the side game. So anyway, next one. Satana. Satana is actually one of my favorites, and also one of my least favorites at the same time. It's kind of weird to say that, but it's my favorite in the sense that it's really wacky, and if it works, you're like, what up? Like, this just happened. But at the same time, it's also like, you know, 4 credits for a 3 strength sentry, come on. So it's kind of underwhelming in the sense that it costs 4 to res, whereas when I just told you that, you know, most of the Psi eyes cost like really little to res. But this one costs 4, and it has only 3 strength. So if it was the case where it was like 3 to res and 4 strength, it would be, in my opinion, it would be like 5 times better. At least 5 times better. The first subroutine says each player gains 2, which is a nice change to just a runner gaining 2, like when something bad is about to happen. But at the same time, it's, you know, it's kind of okay sometimes. You kind of need the money, especially if you're playing a deck where you economic advantage, like, actually wins you the game. So if your corporation has ways to exploit your economic advantage, it's fine. Because if they're already making a run there, it means that they're going to spend credits on other eyes as well. So you're gaining credits in this case. This would be your 1-off eyes, or like maybe 2-off in extreme cases. Because you don't want 2 of these just like for the runner to farm, because if they have a really effective way to break it as well, they are actually gaining money after a while. But as I said, if they're running through the rest of your eyes, they're actually paying credits, so you're taxing them anyway. So you're fine with them gaining 2 as well. So anyway, I think the idea is that compared to Komainu, it's super stronger, can refund you half the res cost with the first sub. Yes, that is part of it, but here's the thing. I was about to talk about Komainu because I was going to talk about the side game. So the side game says if you bet a different amount of credits, if the runner spends a different number of credits, do 1 net damage for each card in the runner's grip. It's like, I call it a ghetto Komainu, because you can't break all the subroutines basically. You can't choose not to take 1 net damage for some of the cards unless you have net damage protection. So at the same time, Komainu is better in the sense that you pay 5 for a 1 strength sentry, and it has a lot of subroutines. That's the strength of Komainu. Whereas Satana can't compare to Komainu in taxing because it doesn't tax. Most of the sentry breakers out there are like 2 to 3 strength anyway. Like, it's not gonna be really hard for them to break Satana. It's pretty much way harder, well, more taxing to break Komainu in any case, I would say. Like, okay, let's say you're not on Mimic. Even if you're on Mark Ultra, which is the Anarch breaker, I would say that it actually costs way more to break Komainu. Even if you're spending like 2 or 3 credits, I think it's 3 credits for every 2 subroutines. It's still more expensive. Because this one, you just spend like 3 credits and you're done with it. That's it. I mean, you're just cool, you're just through. So, Satana is kind of like a weird ice, and I will come back to it, I will leave it open, because there is a card, which is my favorite side card, and it has a lot of talking to do about it. So we're gonna come back to it for sure. But basically, this is kind of like a funky piece of ice that you can put there, and if you're playing a damage deck, even if you're not playing a damage deck, card damage is always, net damage and any other kind of damage is always good. It's always a good tax, because if they run with no cards, they have to draw cards. That's click compression. Doesn't matter if it's credits or cards, it's still gonna cost them. And if they are focused on taking credits and they're running out of cards, you're winning the game. So in any case, even if you're not playing a trap deck, it's still really good. Biggest issue with Satana is it came out when everyone was a Mimic, and you can get through in netting a credit. Yes, exactly. When Satana came out, Mimic was very much played, which is a 3 strength and breaks subroutines for 1 credit. So it was even better back then. But even now, I would say Komainu has a better spot when you really want to tax and actually make the subroutines fire. This one is kind of funky. And you actually have to play side game to actually do the net damage. But it's unavoidable, you know? It's unavoidable in the sense that you do 1 net damage for its card in the grip, that's it. So that's nice. It's not like a Komainu where you just break them. So anyway, let's go to the next one. Clairvoyant Monitor, oh my god. This is like one of my favorite cards that breaks my heart. Because I really want to play it, and I can't find a reason why. So back when I wanted more code gates, I wanted more code gates in my Nisei Division, and I had to play this because it's another end the run Psi card. And the only bad thing about it is that it's actually 4 to res, which is real expensive, and it was really expensive back in the time as well, like 1.5 years, or no, 2 years ago I'd say it was. Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago with Chrome City, and it only has 3 strength. And most of the code gate breakers back then just broke it easily. Even now they break it really easily. Because 4 to res with 3 strength and 1 subroutine, that's really bad value. The side game itself is amazing. The side game itself is something that you would use Marcus Body to actually use Clairvoyant Monitor. Like, it's, in my opinion, it's the best side game in like Nisei Division. Because if you spend a different number of credits, you place 1 advancement token on an installed card, and you end the run. So basically, it's like gaining a credit and a click, because you will put an advancement on something that you need, and then you end the run. And you can do like all sorts of mind games that usually don't work, trust me, I tried it, where you just like end the run and you put an advancement on a trap or something, and then they run it again and try to break it. Like, you can do things in the end game with that. Nisei Division is an end game idea anyway, so maybe you can try things like that with the Junebug or something. But generally, Clairvoyant Monitor is bad and it's to feel bad. And I'm like, I think I'm the only person in the world that knows about this card in Netrunner, because we played a raids game, the Nationals, like a year ago or 2 years ago, I think it was. I think a year ago. And somebody was trying, like, from my team, we had Clairvoyant Monitor, and they were trying to make me understand that it's Clairvoyant Monitor. And they were like, side game, 4 cost, 3 strength. And I was like, Clairvoyant Monitor. And everybody's like, what? How did that come to your mind right away? Like, why do you know this card? So I'm like the guy that knows Clairvoyant Monitor now in my community. So there you have it. Clairvoyant Monitor is a Marcus Body card. Other than that, I wouldn't play that much. And I would play maybe 1 or 2. It was good at the time. Good in Nisei Division, I would say. At the time when there weren't that many under-run eyes. Especially Mind Game had just come out, I think. Or was coming out. So Clairvoyant Monitor was kind of okay. Still works for mass commercializations. Yeah, put the advancement counters on runner cards like Tenet does just for the lulz. Yeah, pretty much. It's just a silly card, you know. But it's an ETR card, which is quite important. ETR Psi cards are kind of rare now because there's only one game. So next one, Dedicated Neural Net. I love this card. I really like this card. It's a 1/3 that actually fits Nisei Division directly. Most of the other kind of like off divisions like IDs that each faction got kind of got like agendas that fit their playstyle, but they weren't that great. Whereas Dedicated Neural Net, it's a 1/3 that you really want to score with Nisei Division. I mean, it's like putting a ghost pop-up window on your HQ and also playing mind games on top of mind games with your opponent, because it says the first time there is a successful run in HQ its turn, you and the runner play a side game. And if you bet a different number of credits, you choose which cards the runner accesses from HQ for the remainder of this run. Okay, so, all the possibilities. Like, first of all, if you don't care what they're gonna access anyway, you just bet 0. Sometimes they're gonna think like, oh, maybe he was thinking about betting 1. Or maybe they can't know if you want them to access or not. They really can't know, because if you bet 2, it's gonna try hardy and they're gonna notice it. But if you bet 0 or 1, with Nisei Division, you gain 1 back every time you play a side game. So basically, they can't know if you want them to access or not. Like if you want them to access at random, or if you want them to access the thing that you want. If you're playing a trap deck, obviously, you want them sometime to access a snare so that you can set up a combo. Or if the runner is smart, they would run early knowing that you have Dedicated Neural Net. But in most cases, it's just pop-up a window. That's amazing. I wish dedicated neural net fired on every HQ round, not just the first. Yes, I do agree, but I mean, it would be kind of too much, you know? I think it would be too much. It's fine as it is. It's really fine. And it's a very underplayed card anyway. If it was every turn, I don't think it would have been, like, played more than it is now. So, it's a really good card in my opinion, and it does fit a lot of Nisei, and I will explain why later. Well, like, because of the points and the way Nisei Division scores, of course. That's something that we need to talk when we talk about the ID. So, I should be taking notes. I'm really bad at this. There's so many things I want to talk about. You know, I usually write them on articles, so I have notes anyway, but now I'm just doing it live. Anyway, but dedicated neural net, really good card for a 1-3, lots of value. It does make the money back really fast, and even better in a trap deck, you can play lots of mind games. Out of a trap deck, it can also play mind games. If you have 3 agendas in hand and they're just running, you can actually protect the first HQ run. Because if they are running on your HQ in the end game, that means there's at least 2 pieces of ice, maybe 3, that you rest for maybe like 3 to 4 credits or something, and maybe 5 if you, like 5, 6 if you put the cost of like putting them down there as well. And it's just, oh my god, they're still paying a lot to just access nothing, something like a piece of ice that you're just gonna solve them. So, it's really good. On to the next one. Mamba. I think this is rotated, right? Is it up and over? No, it's not. Oh my god. This is a really bad card. This is one of those cards that you're like, why did it get printed? So 6 res cost for a 4 strength is bad. It's just bad. Because you're paying way too much money. I mean, I try to make it work because, as I said, a lot of the other side cards cost nothing to res. And you make a lot of money anyway. Even if you're just playing operations or something, like if you play like 2-3 operations, you have enough money to res all of your ice shoot. So you can play one-off like this. But when you do play a one-off that is like a really costly ice, you want something that gives value. Like something like, I don't know, a toll booth, something like an Anansi, something like a... Anyway, you get the point. Like, you want something strong on top of all your other very taxing ice. But Mamba is like bad because it costs 6 and has 4 strength. And it does 1 net damage and plays a side game where if you bet a different number, you place 1 counter on Mamba. And you can use the hosted counter only during a run to do 1 net damage. Now this can kill you, right? If you can see that if you let this fire too many times and you make a run and Mamba is rezzed, it can kill you. It can actually kill you. You can just like farm them. You just put this on R&D and you put like 3 bodies and you score 1 House of Knives, and then they're like, I can't run with less than 4 cards because I'm just gonna die. I'm legit gonna die. 3 net damage from Mamba and 1 from House of Knives, they're dead. Or they can't run last click because you know that they can do 2 net damage like on the run. That's amazing. That's, I don't know, any type of game of Netrunner where doing 2 net damage on their last run or something is actually bad. It'd be okay if it had 3 subs but they were more useful like Kitsi. Yes, exactly. If it was a little bit more useful, that'd be great. Because you're rezzing for 6 and they can break it. That's it. They can just break it. It's 4 strength. I mean, Mark Ultra is like... Let's just explore this real fast. Mark Ultra pays 6 and breaks both. Okay, maybe Mark Ultra is not that great. But still, I mean... It's really not good. And you have to play the side game as well and win the side game to put the counter on it. And if you're batting it, you need to win body and then win the Mamba to put the counter on it. So yeah, I mean, unless you're at the point where you're winning most of your side games, and I will talk about that as well, playing side games, then I mean, yeah, okay, cool. With this one, you would usually bet like maybe 1 or 2. I would probably bet like 2 every time, just to make sure it gets a counter, because it's a very rare effect. So I would definitely do that. I think I didn't talk about what you bet with Clairvoyant Monitor. Yes, Clairvoyant Monitor, I don't know, it's an end the run, so we're gonna talk about that anyway, don't worry. Anyway, next card, Marcus Body. You all know about this card. This is one of the more played side cards, just like Caprice Nisei was. So you play this in Scorpios and stuff, because you just fire a Trust Program subroutine. So in Nisei Division, it's actually a really good card, because it only costs you 1 credit when you bet 2. And I think this is the point where... Oh yeah, of course we have to say, if you bet a different number of credits, you resolve one subroutine or a rest piece of ice protecting the server, and use this ability only during a round on the server. So, it costs you only 1 if you're in Nisei Division, if you bet 2, which is pretty great, and that's a huge protection. And they have to fear the fact that you can actually bet 2 when even when you're lower in money. So Marcus Body is a much easier played card in Nisei Division for obvious reasons, but it's also a bigger mind game. But that's also something that we're going to talk about when Nisei Division comes along. Where do you use Marcus Body? As I said, you use it with... Clairvoyant Monitor for sure. You use it with Mamba. and you use it with other ATR, which we're gonna talk about. So next one, Nganga, if I'm saying it right. I tried this. I tried it. I honestly gave it a go. I really did, but it's bad. It's a great Psi ice. At first when I saw it, I was like, oh, 1 credit and for 3 strength. And then I saw it's a trap, and I'm like, oh, damn it, which means it's probably getting trust, and it does. So you and the runner play a Psi game, and if you and the runner spend a different number of credits, you do 2 net damage, or otherwise, you do 1 net damage. If you didn't win the Psi game. So if you bet a different amount of credits, if you win the Psi game as a corporation, you do 2 net damage. If you lost it, if you bet the same, you do 1 net damage, and then this gets trust. Is this good for 1 credit? It's like a data mine on steroids. I mean, not body into Satana. Oh yeah, obviously, yeah, Satana as well. You're right. You also use body to play Satana. That's really good. Because if it's like on their 3rd or 4th click, you can actually body. And I'm gonna talk about this, don't worry. I didn't mention Satana on for a very specific reason, because there is a card in here that is gonna, you know, sum it all up. So, is this good? No, I don't believe so. Even in a trap deck, trusting your own eyes is just not what Nisei Division does. And even if you put it somewhere else, there are so many other cards that can do so much more stuff. Like, I would rather have something heavier. Even a Cortex Lock would do more. Would be do a better job in this case, because it taxes on credits as well, and it stays on the board. And it has to force him to put like all the programs, which is the end game part for the runner to actually blank Cortex Lock. So yeah, I would say it's not that great. So, Mind Game. In my opinion, the second best card for Nisei Division. Maybe the first. For most people, it's the first because it's actually played even out of Nisei Division. So you play a Psi game, and if you lose it, the runner, you choose another server, first of all. The runner is now running on that server instead of passing Mind Game, and for the remainder of the run, the runner must add 1 installed card to the bottom of his or her stack as an additional cost to jack out. So they could be running R&D, you win the Mind Game subroutine, and you force them to go on your June bag or something, and they are gonna be like, I have to jack out, I don't want to access this, because he was innocent and he hasn't done anything with it for the past 5 turns. So it's probably a trap. So you have to jack out, and then you have to shuffle one of your cards into your deck. To the bottom, you have to put it at the bottom of your deck. But the runner chooses, which is kind of fine, I guess. In some cases, actually, in trap decks, this is quite good because you can force yourself on the Mind Game, and you can uninstall some of your less used cards to actually give yourself more health as a runner. This is a very pro tactic, let's say, and a very end game tactic, but still, it's pretty good. I love Mind Game. I use it all the time in Zenteki decks because its numbers are so good. If it was less influence, I'd probably import it elsewhere. Yes, it's for 3 influence, I don't know if you would import it elsewhere. If it was 1, maybe it would be played. But the fact that 0 cost for 4 strength is with such a strong ATR subroutine that also like redirects, because you can put them on archives if you're playing something else. Like you could have something bad in a server, or you could have a res piece of ice on another server that you want them to face, which does bad things and they don't pay for it. So Mind Game is pretty good in other decks as well. And you paid some money, like even if you play 4 Psi games, you paid for a really good code gate that they're gonna have to break every time, and it costs a lot. Black Orchestra is kind of annoying against this because it just pays 3 and just breaks it, but we're gonna come to that afterwards when we get to the deck building part of it. So Mind Game is a great card. It's the most important ATR card that Psi has, like as a theme, and it's definitely like the card that you put 3 of in any Nisei Division deck that you make, like any. And you also butted this. You butted this because it's your ATR. If you don't have another hard ATR, like just end the run subroutine, you just do this one, and you have to win another Psi game and just redirect. So it's not bad. It's really good. So next one, Psychic Field. Psychic Field is very relevant now because 419 is out, and 419 says when you install a card, the corp must pay 1 credit or reveal the card. You may force the corp. They're not forced to do it. They're not forced to force you to reveal, but you play Psychic Field to, like, you know, mess up with 419, just to force them to play the Psi game. So it says if the runner exposes or accesses, so it's not only access, Psychic Field, you play a Psi game. If you bet a different amount, then you do 1 net damage for each card in the runner's grip. This is like a Komainu in acid form, basically. The best part about this card is that it's actually a trap. When I saw it come out in Honor and Profit, I was like, oh my god, yes, finally. Because as a Zenteki lover, like, I was like, they run R&D, the runner runs R&D, and they just trust all of your traps like ambushes. non-stop because they all cost 0. They all cost freaking 0. It's so annoying. So if they see this on R&D, it does nothing, but at least it costs 2 to trust. So, you know, they have to pay something. But anyway, it wasn't very relevant in the past. It was for like some decks that played like Acid Spam and stuff, like in Zinteki, which was great. If you go in 6 servers and you might end up on this. It's way better than a Snare actually, because it costs you like 2 less credits in the worst case, and it still does like way more than Snare in many cases. So it wasn't relevant for me at least, because there were so many Wizard players that they would trust this anyway, and I didn't have anything else that cost credits for them to trust, so it didn't matter. But this is great. This is still very relevant actually now because of 419, and it's also really good for some Acid Spam decks. Like even MBN, I've seen some MBN decks out there that just go like, oh hey, you know, why not import 1 Psychic Field? Because look at this, it's 1 Influence, why not? It's pretty great. You just put down like all of your Mammoth Virtual Tours and other things, and then suddenly you have a Psychic Field as well. Because as I said, cards being thrown in the bin for the runner is also click compression. They have to draw back up. And when you're playing MBN with like tags and stuff, you don't know what other plans MBN has. So Psychic Field is great. Psychic Field is a really good card as well. The Future Perfect. So the Future Perfect, I don't know, like, it's the most amazing Zinteki card at the agenda, in my opinion. Because the fact that it protects itself so well is just... So basically you play side game, when the runner accesses the Future Perfect, you play side game. And if you bet different credits, they can't steal it. It's amazing. If it's installed, this doesn't work. But still, I've had the pleasure of using Psychic Field in Blue Sun against 419. Exactly! Pink Warrior, giving us a perfect example. He put Psychic Field in Blue Sun. Who the heck expects that? It's amazing. And also you go like, Blue Sun and Psychic Field, that's very evil, Pink Warrior. Because you can actually pull it up and then just put it down again. Wow. Anyway, so yeah, I love that our viewers here at Trace 5 are just as junky as we are here. This is great. So the Future Perfect was very relevant, and even when people were like, most of them were on Film Critic, because Film Critic is really annoying. It only costs only one influence. Why would you make Film Critic such an amazing card that it counters so many things and it only has 1 influence? It's crazy. It's crazy. Fix this. Fix Netrunner. Never mind, it's too late now. Feels bad, man. Anyway, that was a huge parenthesis there. But anyway, even with Film Critic on the board, sometimes this is very relevant because Film Critic can actually die. It's a resource. But even with Film Critic, they have to put it on Film Critic if they don't want to play a side game, and that's 2 extra clicks for them. In many cases, when I face runners that have Film Critic, and I play Future Perfect, I'm like, this is fine, you know? This is totally fine. I mean, okay, cool. And it's fine because I don't really care in the sense that, you know, well, obviously I care, I want to protect them, but if they do find it, they also have to pay 2 extra clicks to do the whole thing where they put it off. And 2 extra clicks in the end game, like mid to end game, is huge. It's really huge. You have a huge scoring window sometimes. But anyway, for Future Perfect, I would bet like, I most of the times bet 2. And I shouldn't be saying this on stream, people now know. But I actually pay 2 as Nisei Division because it's like paying 1 credit to prevent a score. And most of the runners think, I don't know, like I've seen a lot of pro players just pay 0 or 1, a lot of them, like in high competitive tournaments as well, and like premier events, and I'm like, you know, okay, makes sense because you don't want to pay too much money, and actually if the core pays 2 credits, that's fine. But most of them were in Nisei Division as well. It was just like some Palana or like some Adds Infusion or something like that, let's say, or Replicating Perfection back in the time. But I don't know, like for me, Nisei Division paying 1 to actually keep the agenda there is fine. Because you pay 2 and you get back 1, basically, that's what I'm saying. But the real pro players roll a die and then bid 2. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna talk about the die rolling, and trust me, I find it so silly. Anyway, I find a lot of the time the first meaningful side game is usually 1 on the corp side. Yes, most of the times the first meaningful side game is actually 1 on the corp side, and that's also a huge mistake. You should never... I'm gonna talk about Nisei Division afterwards, and I'm gonna talk about this very extensively, how I feel personally about side games and how I go with them. It's very different every time. You should not have a specific strategy to it. Some cards, as I explain now, do have specific numbers that you bet. Future Perfect is one of those, because I bet 0 and actually, you know, if you find one of the games on Code Marvel's stream, we played a game for like an hour and a half, and he only won like the 10th side game on Future Perfect. Like 10th side game. I was playing a deck that was really bad against him because I played a deck that was all about Ice Strength, and he just played the whole Pirate Haley thing. but I still managed to get him all the way to the end and actually try and win on the last few cards on R&D, and he had lost 9 future perfect Psi games in a row. The first Psi game that he actually won in the entire game, not just like future perfect, was the last one that won him the game in HQ. So if I had won that, maybe I could have gotten still on the game. But I'm just saying that it's very different. There's not a specific number for this. You have to assess the situation every time with the amount of money the runner has, what you have, what you can do in the next turn, things like that. But anyway, let's keep on. So I'm gonna go to Votary Intimidation first. Votary Intimidation is also a card, just like Aiki and Body and other, like maybe Caprice and Mind Game, that is very played in other decks, because it's amazing. Play only if the runner is, if there is an agenda in the runner's core area. So if they've stolen an agenda, doesn't matter what, even if it's a fan site, you play a side game, and if you bet a different number, you trust one resource. You just trust it. That's it. Just trust. End of it. That's it. I mean, they could have Full Guy, obviously, but you just trust the resource. It's amazing. It could be a liberated account. It could be Proco. It could be something else huge. I don't know. Like, there's so many good things out there. Film Critic, of course. You play this for Film Critic when you're playing the Future Perfect. You play 2 of these. Most people usually splash just 1 Voter Intimidation. I find that kind of silly. If you're gonna go with the plan of actually using Voter Intimidation to help you win the game, it has to be very... In competitive decks, card slots are very important. We all know that. And the fact that you're putting Voter Intimidation, unless you're playing PU and you know that you're just gonna grind the game and eventually Voter Intimidation is gonna come to your hand, you're gonna play 1. In other cases, it's just Film Critic Intimidation, basically. Yeah, but in other cases, if you think that it's that important to actually win the game, like if you play 3 Future Perfects and you want to score them, at least one of them or something, and you don't want them stolen, if you're playing a low agenda density deck or something like that, or like agendas like Obokata Protocol and you want to make them work and make scoring windows, you're going to play more than 1. You're going to play at least 2. And it's not that costly of a card. Even out of Nisei Division, this costs maximum 3 credits to kill a resource. 3 credits to kill a resource, and it's not bad, people. It's amazing. I've heard people say like, oh, Voter Intimidation doesn't work sometimes. Well, just pay 2 and just let the runner pay 2 as well. What's the big deal, you know? Just go with it. Whatever. But anyway, it's a really important card. It's one of the best Psi cards out there, and the only good Psi operation, I would say, even compared to Cerebral Cast. So anyway, before we go to the rotated cards, I'm gonna talk about Upa Yoga. Upa Yoga is... oh my god, it's my favorite piece of ice in the game. It's amazing. I love it. It's 3 costs. Okay, look, sorry, I gotta drink some water. I've been talking non-stop. So, 3 to res and 4 strength, Cold Gate. 2 subroutines. You and the runner play a side game. If you spend a different number of credits, the runner loses 2. This has so many mind games on it. So let's talk about this first. What do you bet here? 0, 1, or 2? You rarely ever bet 2 first of all, because you don't want to be spending 1, right? But you do want the runner to lose 1. The best case is when you actually spend 0 and they spend 1, and they lose 3 that way, because you bet a different amount and they also spend 1 for the side game, so 3 credits for a subroutine that just fired. That is amazing. That is just like a toll booth, basically. But here's how you use Upa Yoga, right? And I know that saying all of these things when I competitively play Nisei Division is kind of gonna backfire if people watch these videos. So, but still, I love sharing this information. So, here's the thing. Upa Yoga, you always bet 0. You always bet 0 until the point where you feel like the runner, you have enough experience where you know the runner is gonna start getting cocky, or they're gonna start seeing you getting cocky with the side games. You try to make like the whole thing seem like you really got it, you know, you're just gonna keep betting 0, it's fine. And at the point where you think they're also gonna bet, 1, you bet 0. Sorry, you always bet 1, not 0. You always bet 1 because you actually don't pay for the. Hi, it's out first time to the channel. What's this video about? Is this discussion-based channel, JNet play-based, or review-based, deck building-based? We have a little bit of everything. Most of the streams are actually about. I'm gonna explain it. Let me finish with this card. So basically, you pay 1 all the time, every time, until you see them pay 1 as well. Or if you see them that they are understanding that you're getting cocky with the side games, and you actually start betting 0 on it, and then you start betting 2 as well. At the point where you're actually you have the economic advantage, paying 1 yourself to make the runner lose 2 is actually not bad, because Nisei Division is all about taxing. So this Psi game is my favorite in the entire game, because it might only be a 2 credit loss, and it can be 3 credits as well. It can be a 1 credit gain for you, 3 credit loss for the runner, and it can also be a 2 credit loss for the runner. So it's just amazing. It's just, there's so many levels of like bluffing and mind gaming on this. It's just amazing. Now, before I go to the second subroutine, which is like by far the most important subroutine on a piece of ice, on a piece of Psi ice, in my opinion. Sang, welcome to the stream, first of all. This is a live stream, so I have to address this. This is basically a stream where I have promised everyone that I would make from the start of the channel. It's all about Psi games today. Was Marcus' body discussed already? Yes. You can see in the past when it gets uploaded afterwards. Basically, we do Trace 5 is all about doing video commentaries. We go to tournaments and we do commentaries on videos on various events for Netrunner, with a lot of like explanations and nice like video editing that Christian does, and the guys also help with Marcellus and Garion. And we also do a lot of discussion on the streams. We have also streams. I'm basically the main streamer for now, and the guys also sometimes stream as well, but they're more rare. And we mostly play games on Zinteki.net, and we do a lot of wacky combos. We try to do explanations for new people. We also do explanations for more expert people. We try to explore new things. You know, we just try to have fun with Netrunner basically and discuss at the same time. But this was basically a stream that I really wanted to do because I have a huge love for Psi games, and I really wanted to like go through them one by one and do a full explanation on them, because I was about to write an article on it, and I'm like, why not do a live stream? You know, it's way more fun, and people can also chip in. You know, they can say things, which is amazing. So anyway, continuing. Resolve a subroutine on a piece of red Psi ice. Oh my god, like, come on. This is like, this is amazing. First of all, and most importantly, if this is the only red ice, it still counts as itself, so you can play the first Psi game twice. So in the best case, you can actually make the runner lose 6 if you play a really good Psi game, or you can make them lose 4 to 5. So honestly, if you don't care, you just bet 0 and you get the money back. At the point where you need money and they just let it fire, you'll just bet 0 and you'll just get the money back. Upa Yoga is not a piece of ice that you let fire. It's really not, because if there is a Satana on the board, if there is a mind game on the board, if there is, I don't know, if there is a Mamba on the board, there's just so many things you can do. And here's the thing. I have actually killed runners with Upa Yoga. Why? Because you play Upa Yoga and Satana and you put Marcus' body and you fire Upa Yoga, resolve the subroutine on a piece of red Psi ice, to fire the Satana on another server. It doesn't even have, the Marcus body doesn't even have to be on the server with the Satana. It just needs to be on the server with Upa Yoga. So your upgrades, basically Marcus body works from all over the board for any of the ice that you have. What kind of value is that? That's amazing. In my opinion, that's freaking amazing. Obviously, you have to win the Psi games. Obviously. But I'm going to talk about this in the Nisei Division part, where we talk about the ID. But we're talking about subroutines that resolve. So, bear with me. Obviously, you can lose them, but this is great value. If it fires, it's great value. And if it, I mean, it's just amazing. So basically, I love Upa Yoga with Mind Game. And I love putting... you put Mind Game at the front, you put Upa Yoga at the bottom. They go through the Mind Game, they have to, you know, break it. They go to the Upa Yoga, and if they can't break it, or if you can body it, then you move them to another server with a Mind Game and an Upa Yoga. And then if they don't want to continue and they want to check out, then they have to actually... You fire the Mind Game, by the way. And if they want to check out, then they have to trust an unresolved... they have to put an install card to the bottom of their deck. I think there was a ruling... yeah, I'm going to talk about that as well. I think there was a ruling where Mind Game doesn't work with Upa Yoga anymore, where you're not passing Upa Yoga anymore. So, because it's not, when you fire the second subroutine to fire Mind Game on Upa Yoga, with Upa Yoga, it's not the Mind Game that is firing it, so you can't do the other server thing. This is kind of weird, and I'm not sure about it, but I don't know. It's... I think that let us find it real fast, because I'm pretty sure it was somewhere here. I'm pretty sure it was somewhere here that it was like stated. No, it's not. It's actually not. It's kind of weird. It's really weird because it's in the wording that it says like Mind Game says the following. It says the runner is now running on that server instead of passing mind game. So it's kind of weird. I don't know how it works exactly. In big tournaments, nobody has told me otherwise. Like, judges have allowed me to actually use it, like with the mind game thing. And it only ever happened once that I had to do that, so it's kind of fine, I guess. But either way, still Upa Yoga is amazing. And as Circle Master said, you can play Mother Goddess. And Mother Goddess takes all the subtypes of all other rest ice. So it becomes a Psi ice. So it has a hard ETR. So Upa Yoga becomes your second ETR piece of ice in the deck. It's just great. Why not? Hard ETR. You have to break it. So it's amazing value. And Mother Goddess doesn't even have to be on that server. It can be somewhere else. It just fires off it. And you can have Upa Yoga on your remote server and have Mother Goddess on the R&D or HQ. And if you body Upa Yoga on the remote server, then you end the run. So why not? I think it doesn't work because that self-reference doesn't carry over. Because the runner wouldn't be passing mind game, they can't be redirected. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of weird. It's really weird. I think what I did most of the time was actually the other way around. When I found out about that, that's what I'm doing now at least, is actually play Upa Yoga and then mind game, and then I try to win the mind game to put them on another server. So it's nice that they have to break Upa Yoga because they will lose credits if they play the side game in most cases. And then if the mind game fires or if I body it, then I can put them onto another server that has Upa Yoga and mind game. So you can keep looping them over. Like it's really, it's not fun for the runner obviously, but if you're good at side games, you can keep doing that all day long. And you're not losing any money as Nisei Division, so it's great. So anyway, that was Upa Yoga and I really love it. There's so many different values you can pay for it. Like when you Upa Yoga, obviously it goes back to the point where you're like, if you're playing Satana, you're probably gonna bet 2 and they're gonna think that you wanna bet 2, so you have to think between 0 and 2. Not many runners are gonna bet 1, but some of them will, just thinking that you're thinking that way as well. But I would say bet 2. In any case, just bet 2, because they're gonna be cheeky and just do the double bluff and just be like, oh, I'll just bet 0. But Upa Yoga is by far the best Psi ice in my opinion. So anyway, before we go to Nisei Division, let's talk about the rotated ones. Bullfrog. So there was this joke in the DATS community that people were like, hey, you're so good with Nisei Division, just build a deck with Bullfrog, and I already had one at that point. And just take it to Worlds, win Worlds and get full art Bullfrog. And I'm like, yeah. Because yeah, first of all, winning with Bullfrog is kind of hard. Second of all, winning Worlds is kind of hard. But it was a great joke. So full art Bullfrog, please somebody do it. Please, please, I really want to see it. It's beautiful, I love the art. Anyway, it's kind of like a bad mind game. In my opinion, Bullfrog is still really good because it's 3 cost for 4 strength and it has an ETR in a way. Because it says if you bet a different amount of credits, you move Bullfrog so that it is the outermost piece of ice protecting another server. The runner continues the run from this new position and is now running on this new server. It's not bad. It's a mind game without the uninstall thing, but it's a mind game, and if anything, if you're building a huge remote, you can put the Bullfrog on your R&D, which is like, let's say, like thinly iced or something, or on HQ or something, and you just fire it with body or something, and then you can move your Bullfrog on top of your huge remote server with like 4 or 5 ice. You don't pay anything for it, you just move it there. So why not, you know? Bullfrog was very interesting, and it was really good before Mind Game came out, but unfortunately the 3 cost back then was very costly, and I only ever played 1 in my decks. I have won games because of Bullfrog, I will tell you that. It's not a bad card, because it's basically ending the round because you're not allowing them to go into the server that they want to go into. Obviously they can just, you know, tech out and then just go back on the server without the Bullfrog being there, but that's why you play Bullfrog, you gotta be smart with it, you know? Just protect something else that you think is important when you do that. Caprice Nisei is broken. It's by far one of my favorite cards in the game, and I love all of the lore behind it, and the art, and the mechanic, and everything, but it's broken, let's face it. Ending the run if you spend a different amount of credits without ever being able to access her, and her not being trusted staying there, oh my god, it's just, no. Most of the games, like back when Caprice Nisei was actually still valid, like when she was still legal, most of the games where the Corp had a Caprice Nisei and they scored a Nisei Mark II, because you can use the Nisei Mark II to end the run after you lose the side game. It was just over. You just knew there's no much you can do. You just have to press your centrals or something and just hope you can win from there. And even then, there was like Marcus Body and other things to stop you. So I don't like the mechanics of Caprice Nisei, honestly. Like, I love it, but I think it's overpowered. I think it was like, if it was Trusted or something, it would be fine. Personally, I think Body's worse in some ways, because it can sustain games unlike Caprice where you can go somewhere else. Fair enough, because Marcus Body actually fires and it trusts a program or something, yeah. I only wish we could see an Akiko Nisei deck play against the Caprice Nisei deck. We might, actually. We might see that. We might do some Legacy Netrunner at some point. But I'm still, like, now that I'm still working on my own, I'm close to the point where I kind of have finished the first story. I want to make another one with Akiko Nisei now, because she has a very interesting story, and it's very related to Caprice Nisei as well, of course. So I was thinking about doing like something like that and having them like interact in the story, but we'll see. Anyway, Caprice Nisei, amazing card. I don't have to explain much about it. It just plays everywhere. You don't have to be Nisei Division. Being Nisei Division or not doesn't matter for this card. You just win or lose a side game. It does matter in some ways, but I'll explain it when we get to that point. And the last one is Snowflake, which is one of the better... Snowflake is extremely important for Nisei Division, because it's, other than the fact that it's a 1-3, it's 1 cost and 3 strength, it's really important because it's the only barrier that they had. And just having, like, you know, the gear tech kind of like thing, you either have a barrier breaker or you have to play the side game where I can end the run. It just basically ends a run if you bet a different number of credits, by the way. It's the shortest, I think, side game that exists in the game. It was just good. 1-3 is good value, and with Paperclip they have to pay 2, you know? So it was a good gear tech. You have to get your Paperclip, you have to get your Corroder, which was still 2 to break, but it was great. Snowflake was really good. And it's a really valid, also very valid target for Upayoga. Upayoga unfortunately doesn't have a hard ETR right now because of the mind game not working as intended, as we said earlier. But this was just a hard ETR. You just had a side game with an ETR. It was nice. It was really nice. So anyway, we get to the point where we have to talk about Nisei Division. So, oh my god, there's so many things to talk about this. To talk about when it comes to Nisei Division. We're gonna talk first about the basic mentality that you have when you're playing Nisei Division. I gotta drink more water. This is too much side talk. Did I forget something, by the way? If you guys want to talk about something specific before we move on to Nisei Division, like a specific card or something, like an interaction or something, please let me know. Like, feel free to like tip in, and also like, you know, let me know if you want to talk about something specific. Anyway, so Nisei Division. Oh my god, there's so many things to talk about, yeah. It's just... So, Nisei Division, first and most importantly, I have to say, one of the wisest things that a friend of mine, Steve, said when I was playing at the Belgian Nationals of 2014, and I made second place with it. He was saying, you just basically go to second place with a blank ID. And I'm like, well, yeah, that is true. Because if I was playing Personal Evolution, to be honest, I don't think it would have gone better because people would have thought that I am on kill, so they would have been more careful. Any talk of Akiko Nisei this stream? Yes, we have it ready. We will talk about it afterwards. But basically, Nisei Division is all about, like, you know, being a rogue player. Like, you need to be good at side games. Like, honestly, you need to know all of the things that I just told you. They need to be at the back of your head at all times. You need to know how to use every single side card. It's just so important. If you lose a side game, it could mean an access and it could mean an attended steal. So, when the side games fire, you need to be able to win them. Like, you need to know the mentality of playing side games. And the mentality of side games is basically just you paying money and the runner paying money and you winning, getting value out of it. Or when you're not getting value, the runner actually losing money and getting to the point where you're getting taxed so much that you can win side games even easier and you can actually win the game. Because it's not about winning side games, it's about winning the game, obviously. So, what Nisei Division does is not economy. It's honestly not economy. So, it activates all of the side cards. Because when you pay 0 and you get 1, and when you pay 1 and you get 1 back, it means that you have so many more options of betting. It just breaks the math of the side games. Everybody's used to playing voter intimidation, playing against voter intimidation, playing against mind game and stuff like that, and knowing that the corp is going to pay 1 and they're going to spend the credit. They're used to seeing Marcus Body and knowing that they're going to spend 2 or 1 and get not get the money back. It's just so much different. When you play Marcus Body or you play a side game like Future Perfect or something like that, and you get money back, they know that you're going to get money back. It's a whole new level of mind gaming. Because side games just go up a notch for you. it just becomes a much better mechanic for the corporation. So it's not about the money that you make, it's obviously, let's be completely honest here, no matter how many Psi games I play, Palana is still gonna be better in many ways, because Palana relies on a basic ability, a basic mechanic in the game, which is drawing cards. So it's just better. And if they blank it, it's still fine. If they blanked Nisei Division when Employee Strike came out, I freaking hated the whole world, and I freaking hated Anarch even more, because it just deactivates all of your board, basically. They're like, oh, they have to spend money now, this is cool, to win any of the side games. So, even if it does end up making you more money, because the runner just, you know, just runs through all of the side games and just lets them fire, I mean, even then, it's still, you're not playing it for the money, you're playing it for the fact that you can have the extra mind game on top of everything. So, when you're thinking about not breaking a mind game and you're gonna play it, the first reaction that most people have when I actually play Nisei Division, they don't do the math for Nisei Division. They go through a mind game and they're like, I'm not gonna pay for it. And I'm like, you know, I'll bet 1 or 2 and I'll get 1 back. It's fine. It's really not that big of a deal, because at some point you're gonna run through my I key and you're gonna pay 0 and I'll bet 0 as well, and I'll get that credit back. It's all fine, you know? It's basically a pop-up window for me. So all these little things really break the math for the runner. And the fact that all of these pieces of ice that I told you like earlier have such a low res cost allow Nisei Division to focus on other things, like playing as a defensive upgrade, playing all other sorts of things that you can like put as influence in the deck. And this is the point where we're going to talk about deck lists as well, because this is what Nisei Division does. You don't play only Jinteki Glacier, because Jinteki Glacier is not great. Nisei Division, it has some great, unless you're freaking broken MTI, which just like puts cards down like that, which I don't understand why it got printed. Unless you're that, then the click compression is going to be pretty much the same as any other corp, but you have to play money cards and all that. But other than that, you just play weird combinations with other cards, like Cerebral Cast Scorched Earth. You play Punitive Counter-Strike, so when they actually do steal the Future Perfect or your GFIs or something, let's say, then you're going to damage them really hard. Or let's say you play Obokata with Future Perfect, because why the heck not? So there are a lot of things that you can do with Nisei Division, of course. In my opinion, when it first came out, I actually didn't play it with that many side cards. I was still in love with the main Jinteki feeling. So I was a bit afraid of playing too many side cards, because I wasn't great at side games yet. And the way I played it was actually the rogue way, just like making them think that I'm this nice little guy that came here to play like his little like silly game of like side games and like maybe some ice protecting servers, and then suddenly Caesar scores Earth, like what up? And they're like, okay, like that was the reaction in most cases. Like I've had games like against people, like I knew one guy, for example, in Belgium was a really good player. I don't remember his name. I think it's Franz. He was a really good player, and I knew him. And we were on the 4th round, I think, of Nationals, and we were playing. And I intentionally acted like as if I wasn't really sure what I was doing. Like I wasn't playing slow or anything like that. Don't think that. That's really bad. That's bad manners. But I was like, you know, just playing very casually and just trying to be nice and everything, and just like, you know, not being aggressive or anything with my plays or anything. And then suddenly, at some point, I was just getting money and letting him access a lot, just, you know, on purpose. And then at some point, I was like, Caesar scored. And he was like, what? Like, out of nowhere. This is what this corporation does. Like, Nisei Division is so subtle in what it can do, because it actually allows you to keep a lot of money and protect really well from early to late game, that it actually enables a lot of plays, and it's a really nice play style. A lot of people hate side games, and I really hate going to time as well, and I have to tell you, this is a very late game deck, like a very late game ID actually, because playing the side games, playing the Glacier, trying to build up slowly, all of these little things just pile up and you have to spend a lot of time on the game. Thankfully, most of the people that I've had the chance to play with against us thus far in big tournaments and premier events were really nice, and we actually played it really fast. We played it on time. We were fine. Most of my last Nisei Division decks like actually did really well. Didn't lose any games in the last Belgian Nationals last year. Actually won all of the games. My runner let me down, unfortunately, because it was freaking CI. But the thing is, like, you really need to get accustomed to the deck and play fast yourself. I'm a fast player myself, and I'm saying that because if you're gonna bring this to a tournament, you need to know what you're doing and you need to be going fast. Because your opponent, you can't expect your opponent to be going fast for you. If they see that they can steal an agenda and then just like drag it out, they will. If it's a big event, they will do that, and that's fine with them. And that's fine generally, you know, that's what you do sometimes when you know you can't go to places and they're just building up and you're at the point where you can't contest anymore. So, generally, Nisei Division, in my opinion, is something that any Jinteki fan specifically should try. But if you have at least a little bit of love for Psi games, you should definitely try it out. So I think that was most of the things that I wanted to talk about Nisei Division. Like, yeah, it just breaks most of the mind games. That was the main point. It just puts, like, takes it up a notch and just makes the mind games like 10 times, the Psi games 10 times better and more easy to manipulate on your side. And oh yeah, the dice rolling. Do not roll dice when you play Psi games. Like, oh my god, it's the worst thing you can do. Sometimes, yes, you have so much money and the runner has so much money and it's a future perfect on the line and it's fine, you roll a die because it's just gonna be random. You don't know what the other person is gonna bet. If you've played Psi games, if you played so many Psi games that you just know what sometimes is good to bet, even if it's like at the point where it doesn't really matter what you bet, you should still not roll a die. Oh my god, it's so dumb. I find it so dumb rolling dice to actually see what you're gonna bet. Like, take it from me, I've played so many Psi games. It makes no sense. And the people that roll dice sometimes actually do it just for show. Because I know, I've seen so many people be like, oh, future perfect, I'm just gonna roll my dice real fast. And they just like, okay. And then they like take a moment to think about it and they're like, okay, like, why did you take a moment then? Like, why was it so hard to decide how many you're gonna spend? Or, like, even if they're doing it on purpose and they're still doing it random. Random, I think, sometimes is actually the best on the runner side, but still, I don't know. I sometimes roll one and then ignore it. Yeah, exactly, you just... Exactly, that's what you do, you just do it for the effect. In that case, it's not bad, if you just want to, you know, mess with your opponent's head if you're the runner. But in 99% of the cases, I'd say that there is a way to, like, think about what you're gonna bet. Even if you've seen the other player, like, throughout the mats and seen what they bet and how they think about it when it comes to Psi games, you could have a better chance, you know, thinking about what you want to bet instead of actually just rolling a dice and random again. So yeah, that's basically Nisei Division in a bigger nutshell, I'd say. Because, yeah, I didn't really, you know, I didn't use, like, too few words, I'd say. So anyway, if there is anything else you want to discuss about Nisei Division, let me know. But when else am I going to use my 0-2 FUDS dice? Yeah, I have, I don't know where I have it, damn it. I think I have it in the drawer. I have the Psi spinner, which is really cool. I love the Psi spinner. Per Comis was really nice to send me one from last year's Worlds as a gift. So anyway, we're gonna go through some iterations just to explain a few things about Nisei Division. So, Nisei Division, one of the things that I wanted to talk about as well, dedicated neural net. The agenda is really good in Nisei Division because you actually, they don't know if you want to access or not, as I said. Because if you're betting 0, sometimes you just do it for the credit. If you're betting 1, sometimes you also just do it to make them think that you have something so that they run again. So there's so many like bluffing and poker-like things that you can do with Nisei Division that you can't do with other decks. Just because it gives you that extra game on top of all of the layer of secret information that is in the game. And it's just like, it breaks the math. It breaks the whole like information that they think they have. It's just so cool. I think it's just so diverse and so nice. Like, people hate Psi games because they're like, oh, this is like a silly game on top of everything else. It just doesn't allow me to play the game. I don't believe it's that way. I believe it's like, I like this poker feeling to it, you know? I love it. I really love it. Some people don't like it. That's totally acceptable. But, you know, those people shouldn't play Nisei Division. That's fine. Or they shouldn't play against me. Anyway, some archetypes and things that exist for Nisei Division. The first Nisei Division that I actually ever made was Little Garden. And I was playing the classic replicating perfection kind of like style with the Nisei Mark II and the Future Perfects, but I also added Brain Trust and Philotic Entanglement to have 3 2s to score really easily. So just put them down, score them. I also played a Jumbag because I couldn't leave Jumbags out because just, you know, having Kill is just really nice. Sometimes you just install Advance and it's just really good. Oh, it's the times Jackson Howard was still out. Psychic Field, I still believed in the power of Psychic Field back then just because it's a Psi asset. And I was like, oh, you know, I'm playing Nisei Division might as well. That was a mistake. That was a big mistake. Because Psychic Field is kind of dead in this deck. It's okay if you play one, but still you can have other things. Snares for the tag, Caprice Niseis for scoring. So this deck, half of the time, won with scoring and the other half won with killing. because I played Cerebral Cast. I do not even play a C-Source in this deck, right? Not even a C-Source. C-Source came afterwards. I played Cerebral Cast and people would be like, oh, I'll take the tag, there's not much you can do with your last click. And then I would just Scorched Earth them. Because there are 2 Scorched Earth in the deck. I play poker and the side game is really random. Yeah, so there you go. I don't even play poker, so I can't relate to it, I'm really sorry. But if you say so. Scorched Earth is just... It was very black and white. I'm kind of glad they removed it. Like, High Profile Target is a way better card than Scorched Earth, I'd say, for the game. But all of my influence went to Jackson Howard, Eli, Tollbooth, and Scorched Earth. As you can see, everything else was just very normal. It was back at the time when Cortex Lock, Pop, Swordsman, Kitsune for firing, for giving them the snare out of hand was really nice. But as you can see, it's a standard, like, Caprice Nisei Excalibur kind of, like, bullshit that you would do just to win. So this was the first time. And even like somebody said, like Preskip says, a Nisei Division deck plays second on Nationals without even a Snowflake. This is beautiful. So I didn't play the Psi cards here because I was very afraid of it. I was afraid of not making them work. So we go to Tiny Garden, where I started playing real Nisei Division. So I went from the agenda suite of like 2/3s to a way lower density agenda suite with Clone Retirement, Global Food Initiative, and Future Perfect. That's 17 points in the deck. 17 points. And you have to play a side game. You don't play Film Critic. You have to play a side game to actually steal the Future Perfect. So you just score behind like a huge remote or like a small remote with Caprice and Marcus. And you just score 2 3-pointers and you can just fast advance this one. It's just done. And I also played 3 Socks back then because I really like Sock. Sock is a huge card as well as Bridge Domi is right now for Jinteki. You should have at least 2 in your deck if you're playing Jinteki, in my opinion, because that way it allows you to not have to protect archives. It's just perfect. Or, yeah, okay, they play Omar and other things like that, and you have to now. But many other effects like Amakua, like, it's just really nice to have 1 or 2. Anyway, I invested in having a C-Source, and it worked so well. As you can see, I removed the Cerebral Cast, and I just think that people just knew what was going on. So, where is it? I think I say it somewhere. People know me all too well now and protect themselves. I didn't see that helping them thus far though. So yeah, people knew that I played Scorched Earth, but I didn't know I played C-Source now. So I removed the Cerebral Cast because I knew nobody was going to take the tag anymore. And I basically included C-Source, so it started tagging. But as you can see, once again, all of the influence is on doing one specific thing. Very specific thing. C-Source Scorch. The rest of the thing is just protecting and just playing the standard Nisei Division game. You have Satana for Upa Yoga. You have Clairvoyant Monitor 1 just for the end of the run, Snowflakes, just all of that stuff. So we go to the more recent decks now. This is the point where I realized, hey, this is like Encrypted Portals is really good. Because I was playing with a friend and he's like, you have so many code gates, why don't you play that silly Jinteki agenda that gives like +1 to all your code gates? I'm like, yeah, why don't I do that? This is pretty good. And when you have like 3 res. Look at this, 3 Aiki, 1 Crick, DNA Tracker, Lotus Field, Upa Yoga. And Mind Game was not even out yet, and that's 14 code gates. That's 14 code gates on its own, like oh my god. And you have Snowflake for the gear tech, as I said, and Combiner for the Sentry gear tech. And then you just play with, this was a more scory kind of like Nisei Division with Asset Spam. This is the one that I used for, I think the last Invitationals that I played in the Netherlands, like 2015 or so. And I got like 2nd place. I lost to freaking Cipher. This is why there are 3 Lotus Field in here. Oh my god, I freaking hate Cipher. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Crisium Grid, it's 1 influencer, you can just put it in there. It's extra tax, 5 credits to trust. Enhanced Login Protocol, they're going to be running and spending so many credits and also another click. So the agenda suite went down to a more like diverse thing. I'm still a big fan of the 3 5s and the 2 1s, like just playing a 1 of like 1-pointers and all of them 3-pointers, just to like have very low agenda density. And that's because of Accredited Portals. Like I really like Accredited Portals because it makes you money in the late game, and it also makes it even harder for them to go in. Even if they had Gordian Blade, like sometimes I played against Haley's with Gordian Blade, it worked so well. Oh, and I was really silly and I played 54 cards, by the way. Doesn't judge me. Anyway, and we get to the most recent one, which is basically I got 4th place at the Belgian Nationals with it. And it's basically, as you can see, it doesn't play Kiel. I really like Kiel because I'm a huge Jinteki fan in general, and I really like Punitive Counter-Strike. But when you play Red Herrings, Ash, Crisium Grid, Marcus Body, yeah, okay, they could play Film Critic and it just messes up your Red Herrings and your Future Perfect. But Oh my god, it was so expensive for them to break. I won all of my games except one with this. The one where I got like a little bit flattered, I believe. But it worked so well. You have one shipment from Tenon for the encrypted portals. So I don't want to talk about the deck exactly. I want to talk about the Nisei Division part of it, the side game part of it. As you can see, I have 2 Aiki, 3 Mind Game, 3 Upa Yoga, and 1 Mother Goddess. So that's basically its count. 2, 5, 8, 9, let's say with this one, yeah. So 9, 12, 15 cards that play a side game. In most games, I would rarely fire more than 3-4 side games, let's say. Rarely more than 3-4. So this is why I'm telling you that Palana is actually better. People do not let side games fire. And the one that they let the most fire is Aiki, and that's a huge mistake against Nisei Division. Huge mistake, please remember that. Always break it when you're playing against Nisei Division. Because you're just giving them money for the later turns. You're saving them a click and giving them a credit, basically. So, because if I'm playing only that amount of money, I'm relying sometimes on, you know, breaking Aiki. That's not bad for me. And there have been games where I had exactly 4 credits. For example, when I got to 3rd place in these Belgian Nats, I played against Michael 2.0. Really long game, really frustrating game as well. But he was really nice afterwards. Anyway, I won because I had 4 credits. Because he sometimes didn't break some side games. I had exactly 4 credits at the end, at the start of my turn, and I was able to ship him from Tenon to put 2 on my future perfect, and then advance, and score. So there was a lot of bluffing, there was a lot of side gaming, there was a lot in that. This is the kind of games that I love with Nisei Division. You have to play a lot of side games, and when you do, you need to make them count. So in a very competitive environment where you know that you're not actually gonna fire a lot of side games, you need to be able to win them. I need to like really say that all the time. And you know that you're not gonna win some of them, but the more you play it, the more you understand how it plays and the mind games, stuff of mind games by playing Nisei Division. But you just learn it, you know, it's practice. So anyway, I wanted to also give a shout out to Little Coop Garden, where Michael Gabriel Coop, really nice guy from the UK, he's one of the organizers for the UK and also for the Euros. He just saw me at last year's Euros and he was like, "Hey Kelf, can you make me a Nisei Division deck for the cast refresh tomorrow?" I'm like, I don't know, it's like, I'm just gonna go home and sleep. It's just make me a Nisei Division deck. I just went home and I just built this in like, I don't know, like 5 minutes. And I put in KP Lin whenever the runner passes all of the eyes protecting the server. He or she must take 1 tagger in the run. Scored Certainty Source, and he went 5-0. He went 5-0 with us. It has 1 Tiyasi, 2 Kakugos, Aiki, DNA, Tracker, Mind Game, and Komainu. I don't know how you minus did. I know that Nisei Division is nice and all, and I love it. Like, it's just so... It's so silly. It's so silly. But I love Coop, and I'm so proud of him for doing so well with this. I'm just so happy about it. I also want to give a shout out to... where is it? Let's go through this one. To the American side deck. I've seen a lot of other Nisei Division decks, but they're pretty much somewhat the same as what I said with the replicating perfection kind of like style. They just play like the Glacier most of the time, and they just like include some other kind of like influence. So this is the part where you just like cringe. When Fumiko came out, where is it? Fumiko Yamamori. Whenever you and the runner reveal secretly spend credits, do 1 mid-downs if you and the runner spend a different number of credits. This is, oh my god, this is a very legit asset, first of all. So 4 credits to res, 4 to trust, and you do 1 mid-downs when you win the side game. As I said, it's not really great because you don't play side games that often. So you have to put it in a huge remote and then protect it, and then you are piling up agendas in your hand. It's not a great asset anyway. They're gonna kill it. They have ways to kill it. And 4 credits to res it is not great. So anyway, you basically play Crick with Marcus Body while Fumiko is rest, and you res Marcus Body, you fire Marcus Body, you win the game. You fire Crick to install Marcus Body. Fumiko does the damage because you won the side game. Then you fire Crick to install Marcus Body as and then you play Marcus Body again, so you get the point. You kill them slowly and painfully. So this was a very brilliant idea. It was bound to happen at some point by someone. It doesn't always work, obviously, but oh my god, it's so silly. It's so damn silly. The other card that we didn't talk about, by the way, before we move on to the runner cards, is Hyobu Research Facility, which is 0 to res, 4 to trust. The first time it's turn you reveal secretly spent credits, gain that many credits. I don't like this card. First of all, because it's a card slot and it's not that great. If it was every time, it would be great, but that would be too silly. But it's kind of a tell. When you're playing Nisei Division, you're already game 1. and it's kind of a tell that you're gonna spend 0. So if the first thing that they see is a future perfect, it kind of breaks them off in the sense that, you know, oh, they might actually bet too, you know. And sometimes it's kind of a mind game on top of the mind game on top of the mind game, because they're like, they know they're gonna gain back the credits, and they know I know it, and they know I know that they're gonna gain back 1, so I'm gonna bet 0 or 1 because I know they're not gonna bet 2, because it's too easy, you know, they're not gonna bet 2 just to gain 2 back. So it's way too many layers of bluffing at that point. And I tried it a lot of times, and I actually found it really bad. It's really hard to win side games with it. It actually doesn't make it more helpful for the corp. And just put another money card in. Like, put a mental health clinic or something. Put, like, I don't know, a Beanstalker royalties if you have an influence. Most of the times I had 1 influence left when I was building Nisei Division deck. So, just do that, you know. Just put a Beanstalker royalties. It's better money. You're gonna gain more out of it than actually installing it. And sure, who the heck is gonna go and pay 4 for it? I mean, if they pay 4 for it, you got the value out of it. That's amazing. But play a pod campaign instead, you know. Anyway, I believe that was all of the Nisei Division cards. If I'm forgetting one, please let me know. But let's go to Akiko Nisei. So, oh wait, before we go to Akiko Nisei, actually, we have to do a, you know, a shout out, an honorable mention, let's say, to 2 cards. So, push your luck, first of all. Secretly spend any number of credits the corp guesses. If you spend an even or odd amount, reveal spend credits if the corp guessed incorrectly. Gain credits equal to twice the amount it's spent. That's not a side game because you're not both spending credits, obviously. It's not like a mind game between the players. But I find this card so bad. It's cool design, but at the same time bad design, because it's very... Side games are great because when compared to this, they have some kind of interactive factor in it, you know? There's... If you spend credits, you spend them out of your pool. And if I need to spend them as well to actually prevent you from something from happening or allow something to happen. In this case, only one person is spending credits and you're just playing like a silly random game. You can roll a dice for this and it will have the same effect basically. So, what about the runner current? Yeah, we're gonna do an honorable mention for that as well. I have it here. But yeah, it's just... I'm glad people don't play this because it's so silly. If it was 0, it might have actually been decent. It costs 2 and it's actually really bad, so that's great. I'm glad this doesn't see any more play. And there's, how's it called? I'm actually really sad about this because as much as I like the Scorpion Clan in Hellfire Var right now, they introduced this card that just is very silly for me. And everybody was like, oh, are you gonna play it? It's actually... It's a great card. It's like you're playing Nisei Division again with side games and stuff. I'm like, that's not side games, because it says secretly select a number on your honor dial, then the chosen character's controller guesses whether this number is even or odd. So they call it Maze of Skillusion for a reason. It's just silly. It's not cool card design, you know. It doesn't help the game with, like, doesn't include any skill in whatever is going on. There's no thinking back and forth, you know. So I don't like this card. Great. Great theme, great art, one of the best arts actually in the game in my opinion, but I don't like the card. I'm glad that side games are actually the way they are. So, honorable mention to government investigations. Oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I've never seen it. I was expecting one of my friends to actually play it just for the heck of it, just to like go against me, but it's actually not great. It's really bad. If it said like players can't spend 1 or 2, or like maybe they can't spend 0. They can't spend 0. I don't know. If it said players can't spend 0, I think it would have been better. But it's basically a card which says, while secretly spending credits, player can't spend 2. It kind of makes side games become like a 0-1 game, but it's still a side game. It's still not bad. But most of the side games you will be betting 0-1 anyway. So I'm not surprised nobody plays that. And it's only good against Nisei Division, I'd say. But even against Nisei Division, you don't really care. Yeah, you really don't. You just make future perfects easier to steal, and there are so many other better currents to play. Like, I would rather play, I don't know, Traffic Jam is even better. Interdiction is way better. Way, way better. You have to spend 0 if you have 0. Hey, that's true. That is true. Yeah. So you can't do that. Yeah. So if players kind of spend 1 will be better, I'd say. Because you have to go either all in or all out. That would be better. Anyway, with that being said, we go to Akiko Nisei. Akiko Nisei is very interesting, and a lot of people were very excited about it, and they asked me to talk about it, and I did a little bit in one of the past streams. But the thing is, Akiko Nisei is like... it's not great. It says if you and the runner spend the same number of credits. This is the first Psi game that actually says spend the same number of credits. Access one additional card from R&D. So, players cannot bid 0 credits. Oh, you have no credits. Yes, you're DQ'd. I win. Easy peasy. So anyway, I like her because she has 1 link at least, but I don't like her because she has 12 influence, so it's kind of already like an ID that I wouldn't play from the start. I would only rebirth into her as Smoke. I love Smoke way too much to go into Akiko Nisei. A lot of people ask me if I would like play Akiko Nisei now, but no man, Smoke is like great because she's 40 card deck and she has a credit for economy and it's just really good. But yeah, the main thing about Akiko Nisei. First of all, it's so saper that it says like, I'm gonna go access R&D. And I see the Psi game as more of a money denial rather than as a way to actually, you know, access more cards or anything. What if Akiko was 0-12 with 0 link? I would play it. I think I would play it. I would try it. If it was 0-12 with 1 link, that would be amazing. I would probably definitely play it. But 0 link with 40-12, I think Kit is better. At least it's 12 and not 10 influence, they've learned. Yeah, it's something, you know. We got that. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Akiko is just a silly identity that makes them lose 1 credit in a competitive environment. That doesn't really matter. Like, unless you are 419 and you're constantly denying them the 1 credit through a very basic action, which is installing face down cards, then you're not gonna do much by just running R&D. You can't run R&D every turn. You just can't. Like, you can't... Okay, whenever you access cards from R&D, right? It's whenever, it's not the first time. So that's nice. But even then, they're not gonna let you run R&D so many times. And if you do find the access, like, to go in there so many times, it's still just... it's not that great. I would run her only with Equivocation. Equivocation with Akiko is fine. And in the end game, you can do a lot of things. So I would play Smoke, and maybe if I know that Net Mercury is so loaded that she can just keep going anyway, I will probably rebirth into Akiko and then just keep going. The other bad part of it is, well, I kind of like it that it's not like that. She's not a G mod. As you can see, she's a clone. So you can't use her on DJ Fenris, which I really like. It would be kind of silly if you got this ability as an R&D interface just by playing DJ Fenris. Because I believe it would be too much. Okay, it's not game breaking, obviously, but still, I would rather rebirth into this. There you go, that's your 12 influence accounted for. Words with Divided Conquer. Yeah, perfect. Divided Conquer is it oh, I misspelled it. It's 4 influence, yeah, okay. Too much, no. But anyway, I would say that it's mostly like it's a silly thing that when you have a lot of money to use, I don't know how you're gonna find it in a 45-12 Saper deck. But if you have a lot of money to use, then it's great because you get a free R&D interface kind of like thing. I mean, how many times are you gonna use it in a game? You're gonna use it maybe 5-6 times. Yeah, 5-6 times. Like, I would say, like, you know, an average number. Let's say R&D accesses. In an extreme game, you would use it, like, maybe 10 times. But in a more endgame game, you would use it 10 to 15. But still then, like, how many credits are you going to spend? And out of those 10, 15, how many times is it actually going to work? Because, as I said, the corporations make really a lot of money right now. And if you're playing against a Saper that is slow in building up, they're definitely going to be ahead in money. If you're playing it as a rebirth from Smoke or something else, or Isla, for example, that's not bad as well. Then Isla, if I was Isla, I would actually rebirth into Akiko more reasonably, I'd say. It's a more reasonable route. But even then, like, they would have so much money that they can actually bid against you and actually win the side games. Unless you just go every time and you always bet 0. That's a tactic as well, and you just force them to pay 1 every time, just thinking that way. And then at some point you just bet 1 and they're like, oh shit, you know. oh no, he actually is gonna access more now. Or they bet 2 just to be safe and you're still at 0 and you're like, okay, you know, it's fine, let's just run again next turn. Or if it really matters, then the side game becomes like a whole like, oh my god, this is important. But it's really cool if you're Nisei Division and you're like, oh, I just have like 7, 8 agendas in my entire deck and one of them is in my hand, so go ahead, access 2, you know? So you just gain a credit out of Akiko's idea ability. So that's not bad. I see that as a win in my case. So Akiko is nice. I really like the theme. Definitely gonna see a Nisei Division Akiko Caprice Nisei kind of like game. Definitely. There's gonna be something like lore-wise. I'm gonna build something for sure because I've had a lot of fun building this thematic kind of like terminal directive style scenario, and I really want to do more with this. So there is that was all, by the way. I wanted to say that this is basically all the things that I wanted to discuss about Psi stuff. I hope you all got something out of this, even if you don't play Nisei Division. Even if you play against Nisei Division now, there is definitely a lot to learn. I want to show you, for the end of it, one of my latest decks, which is the Gated Garden 3.0. It's basically a deck that does the same thing as I said, with a lot of code gates, encrypted portals. Instead of 3 encrypted portals, you play 2, and you play lag time to increase the strength of your eyes to actually mess up Black Orchestra. Because anything that goes to 4 strength or 5 strength, at some point basically becomes 6 to break for Black Orchestra, and everybody's on stupid Anarch, so you know, that's great. And you play Jin Splicer for the extra point if you really need it. Global Food Initiative means they have to steal 4 agendas to win. Unless they steal a Future Perfect, you try to protect the Future Perfects. And Geofront is great because you can install Advance, it's really great in Nisei Division. Hokusai great because it's just tax, it's amazing, it's 2 for 4, it's better than playing Eurolane P. Marcus Body, for obvious reasons. Navi Mamba is great because I hate the people that play Pirate Haley because it's a dumb deck. Headspan 2 IPO, you don't need 3. I actually went down to 2 because even with lag time and a lot of other things like Punitive Counter-Strike, I was like, I don't really need it, it's fine. 2 Scarcity because it's a taxing deck, you might as well play Scarcity as well when lag time is not up. And a lot of people play Corporate Grunt and stuff now, so it's good to actually, you know, have something on the board. 1 Sipman from Tenon for scoring the Encrypted or being like ticky in the end with an install advance, and then Sipman from Tenon to like win the win the game with 3-pointer. Voter Intimidation for obvious reasons. You see, I only play 1. I should play 2. This is a huge mistake. I just corrected myself earlier. IP block, I'm not sure about this. It's my 1 influence inclusion. I just want to have 1 just to force them to install their barrier, because IP block is nice compared to many other barriers, even Kakugo, because Kakugo doesn't force them to install Paperclip when they have Omakua. When they have Omakua and IP block is on the board, it's extra tax, so it's great. 2 for 4 and an extra tag if they play an AI is really good, you know. Of course, it's an ABN card. Aiki Conundrum for the Omakua thing, because, you know, having a 7 strength to 8 and 9 strength Conundrum is pretty great. Creek, for obvious reasons. Creek, actually, I don't always put it on archives. It's a piece of ice that I actually put on other servers as well, because it's really great. Because when it reaches 45 strength, it's actually still good. Harvester you put in R&D, and when it becomes 4 and 5 strength, they're like, do I really want to break this? Do I really want to spend money to break a Harvester? It's fine, I'll just draw my deck, and they just run out of cards eventually, and you're all good. If they actually let both of these fire, it's really bad for them. Sometimes they do draw into cards that they need, but having to discard to your maximum hand size when you're already at 4 or 5 cards, for some decks, like Geist, for example, who run with like 7, 8 cards, this is great. I really like it. One-off has actually helped me a lot into deck decks. Mind Game for obvious reasons. Touring for Amakua and early scores in the start. You know, if you want to put down an Encrypted and actually have the Touring. It's also one of your most expensive eyes in the deck, along with Conundrum. But 4, and Anansi actually, but 4 for something that is going to get to 5 strength at the start, and then get to 6 with an Encrypted, and then to 7 with a lag time. You can't pass on that, it's really great. Upa Yoga because it's the best thing ever, and Anansi because you want to have a sentry and you want to have a sentry that is valid, you know, a sentry that is actually going to stay there and is going to say, yo, you need a good sentry breaker. You can't just bypass it, you can't just like say, oh, I'm okay with not breaking that, you know, you can't say stuff like that. You just res it and it stays there. So I really like Anansi. And 2 punitive actually instead of 3 because I want to play the score game, I don't want to play the kill game. If I do see that I can do the kill game, that's cool. I'm going to play it slowly, I'm going to slow roll it, but still, punitive is good to have. So anyway, that was the last of it. If you think there's something else that we didn't talk about, again, I hope you all got something out of it. I had a lot of fun doing this. I love talking about Nisei Division, specifically about Jinteki, but even more about Nisei Division because, come on, I mean, it's just I find it to be such an interesting identity. It's such an interesting identity. Like the fact that it takes it up a notch, it's just so good. So anyway, I have a little surprise for the end because I have been working closely with a good friend of mine, an artist called FF Flatline, as you might know him. He's from Chile, I believe, and he lives in Germany. He does a lot of cool cards. Let me pull up the FF Flatline. A little bit of advertising for him. I think I can find it like that. I can find it. I can find it. I will find it. Give me a second. So anyway, I've been working with FA to make my own Nisei Division alt art. So I have been working with him for quite a while, and we did a lot of things. Like we went through some iterations for it. So basically, for you that don't know it, most of my Akiko Flatline. Hey. So most of my Nisei Division decks have like kind of a garden theme. That's because when I played the Belgian Nationals, one of my good friends, Jeremy, Mr. Mint, as you might know him, came over and said, "Oh, it's like a little garden. You should name it Little Garden." And that's how Little Garden came to be, basically. And I wanted to include like a nice picture where it actually, you know, reminds you of the little garden of the whole thing. And I have had a lot of, I'm gonna get all like sentimental now. I've had a lot of people come up to me, like people that I didn't even know, and said, "Oh, hey, I heard you like do commentaries for Teamwork Cast and now Trace 5. I watch your streams." People come to me, you know, they say like, "Oh, I love your decks," things like that. "Oh, I've tried the Little Garden stuff. That's really cool, you know." And I love it. That's like one of my favorite things in Netrunner, the community. Like people I don't even know are so lovely, and they come up to me and they're just telling me about Nisei Division. They're getting excited about Nisei Division. And I'm like, oh, that's really awesome, you know. Even now in Greece, like people I didn't even know here in Greece, they just knew me as Kelf, the guy with Nisei Division. So I really wanted to do something that would actually allow me to give something back to these people. So from now onwards, whenever I play a casual or a competitive game with someone of Netrunner, I will always give them one of these. So this is the art that that AFA made for me. And the surprise that I have for this stream is that we're going to be giving away 2 of these to 2 lucky viewers. So I'm going to make it a very closed kind of like giveaway, because I'm only going to mention it in the video. It's not going to be written somewhere. And you have the chance to win it by leaving a comment under one of our videos in the entire week. It could be this video, it could be one of the videos that come up from like the Euros cast refresh tournaments or tournament videos and all that. And you have the chance to win it by just actually leaving a comment with one of your favorite Netrunner stories. Doesn't matter how long or small it is. You could just say like, "I flatlined this guy in 2013, it was amazing." But just do hashtag Nisei or hashtag Little Garden or something. I don't know. You just write the story or whatever. I don't care really. I just want to read all your amazing stories from the game, because it's just, hey, I watch your stream. Just want to say hi. Hey man, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the live thing. And you're gonna be receiving in the mail a Nisei Division alt art card that I will have printed for you. I will do 2 rounds of it. It will have a little, I played on stream against this guy, Kelfecil. It was amazing. Hey, you can't sit your way through like that. But anyway, I'm gonna be doing 2 rounds of it. There's gonna be a little nice message on the back with a little thank you from me and everything. And yeah, you're gonna receive it in your mailbox. We're gonna ask you for, if you are the lucky winner, we're gonna announce it on stream next week. So basically today is the 11th, it was, now it's 12th. But we're gonna announce it in a week, like next Wednesday, let's say. And whoever has won, we're gonna contact them, and I'm gonna send you personally the altar to your mailbox. So yeah, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you, because when I started the stream, I wasn't sure what I would be doing, if I would be playing only Nisei Division or anything. And I really enjoy Nisei Division. As you can see, like 2 of the first streams were actually just, you know, playing Nisei Division, which I love. So this was my way of like working with somebody from the Netrunner community, FF Flatline, who does amazing stuff, and I'm still trying to find his website. Oh my god. I think it's Oh man. Oh yeah, I found it. The flatline.net. That was way easier than I thought. So, let me post it here. This is where you can find flatline stuff. He has a lot of alt arts and like custom arts and stuff like that. He's a really cool guy. I've had the chance to like work with him with on some other things as well. And the thing that I wanted to say is that if you want to, I was gonna make this a one-off playmat for myself as well, with the high definition part of it. But I can also get you the file to make a playmat as well yourself if you want to, for the if you're one of the winners. So I know a lot of people have asked me for Mongoose and Desperado to do that in the past, so I'm just making it available if you're the winner, because we've had a lot of requests in the past for art that we've made for the Dutch community. So anyway, leave a comment down below in one of our videos from Trace 5, doesn't matter which video, in the next week, and we're gonna go through them, we're gonna put the entries, and you can have the chance to win one of those Nisei identities. As I said, there are going to be 2 rounds, and one of the rounds, the round that we are going to be giving away, is basically a more metallized, kind of like glossy kind of like thing, and we're going to send you a picture, and you're going to see if you want that one or the normal one, so you'll get a chance to choose, don't worry. But I wanted to do like a more fancy one for the giveaway. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. Let me put back the garden for the ending. I hope you all enjoyed this. Thank you all for being here. Thank you again for being fantastic viewers. I have really been enjoying it. Huge thanks to Circle Master and Pink Warrior, who have been here from the very start of the streams. I would honestly would feel very lonely if it wasn't for you guys chatting all the time. I really appreciate it. Thanks to all the other more silent viewers as well. You guys all really matter, really, because I see people that leave like one comment or so now and then, and it does show that people really watch the stream, even if they don't talk much on the stream, but it really makes my day, honestly. So anyway, I hope you learned something out of this whole Nisei Division, you know, like extravaganza that we went on, and I'll see you next time. I don't know when next time is gonna be, probably Friday, I'd say, but we'll see. Yeah, thank you all for being here, guys. Bye bye, have a good night.